World War II was the most destructive conflict in human history. Over 100 million soldiers fought, trillions of dollars spent on weapons development. Most of those weapons were predictable. Better tanks, faster planes, bigger bombs. But some weapons were absolutely insane. Ideas so crazy you won't believe they actually existed. We're talking about explosive rats, bat bombs, pigeon-guided missiles, guns that shot around corners. These aren't movie props. These aren't rejected ideas. These weapons were actually built, actually tested. Some were actually used in combat. This is the story of the 7 craziest weapons of World War II. Number 1 will blow your mind. Let's start with number 7. Weapon number 7, the Krumluff, the gun that shot around corners. The Germans had a problem: urban warfare, street fighting. How do you shoot at enemies hiding around corners without exposing yourself? German engineers solved it by bending the barrel. The Krumluff, a curved barrel attachment for the STG-44 assault rifle. The barrel bent 30 degrees. You could aim around corners, shoot from behind cover, never expose yourself. It sounds genius. In practice, it was a disaster. The bullets didn't like going around corners. The curved barrel created massive friction. Bullets tumbled. Accuracy was terrible beyond 30 meters. Worse, the barrel would wear out only after 300 rounds. The curve would warp, the gun would jam, sometimes the barrel would crack and injure the shooter. But the Germans actually produced several hundred of these. They were used in the Battle of Berlin, mostly for shooting around corners in ruined buildings. Did it work? Barely. Was it crazy? Absolutely. Weapon number 6, explosive rats. The British had an interesting idea. What if we hide bombs inside dead rats? The plan was simple: kill rats, stuff them with plastic explosives, and leave them near German factories and warehouses. Germans would find the dead rats, throw them into furnaces to dispose of them, and boom. British intelligence actually produced 100 explosive rats. They were ready to deploy. But the Germans discovered the plan before any explosive rats reached Germany. They captured a shipment and displayed them in German military schools as examples of British sabotage attempts. Here's the funny part. The Germans became so paranoid about explosive rats that they spent massive resources inspecting every dead rat they found. So the explosive rats succeeded without ever exploding. They wasted German time and resources just by existing. Weapon number 5, the Panzerdrum. Britain wanted to breach German beach defenses in France. They needed to clear obstacles and explode fortifications. Someone suggested a giant wheel, 2 huge wheels connected by a drum full of explosives. Strap rockets to the wheels, let it roll toward the beach defenses, and explode. They called it the Panzerdrum. The first test went hilariously wrong. The Panzerdrum rolled forward for a few seconds, then veered left, then right, then started spinning in circles. Rockets flew off in random directions. It nearly killed the observers. They tried again, same result. The thing was uncontrollable. After several failed tests, including one where the Panzerdrum chased a dog across the beach, the British gave up. But not before spending significant money building and testing a weapon that literally couldn't go straight. Weapon number 4, the Vespa 150 TAP, anti-tank scooter. After World War II ended, the French military looked at their equipment and thought, we need something mobile but cheap. So they strapped an anti-tank gun to a Vespa scooter. The Vespa 150 TAP, a cute Italian scooter with a 75mm recoilless rifle mounted on it. 2 soldiers would ride the scooter to a position, stop, remove the gun, set it up, fire at tanks, then pack everything back on the scooter and escape. It was actually used by French paratroopers in conflicts in the 1950s and 60s. The logic was solid. It was cheap, lightweight enough to parachute drop, and mobile. But imagine being a soldier and your commanding officer says, "Here's your anti-tank weapon," and hands you a scooter. Weapon number 3. Pigeon-guided missiles. American behavioral psychologist B.F. Skinner had a wild idea in 1940. Train pigeons to guide missiles. His plan: put a pigeon in a missile, give the pigeon controls connected to the missile's fins, train the pigeon to peck at a screen showing the target. The pecking would steer the missile. Amazingly, it worked. Skinner successfully trained pigeons to guide missiles toward targets. The accuracy was good, better than early electronic guidance systems. The U.S. military was actually interested. They funded the project, built prototypes, tested them. But imagine being the engineer explaining this. So we put a bird in the missile, and it pecks at things. Eventually, electronic guidance systems improved, and the military canceled the pigeon missile project. But for a few years, the United States seriously considered using kamikaze pigeons to guide bombs. The pigeons were very good at their job. They just happened to die every mission. Weapon number 2. Bat bombs. This is where things get really crazy. American dentist Lytle Adams was driving through New Mexico when he had an idea. What if we use bats to bomb Japan? His plan was elaborate. Capture thousands of bats, attach tiny incendiary bombs to them, put them in bomb casings with compartments, drop the bombs over Japanese cities at dawn. The bombs would release the bats at altitude. The bats would fly into Japanese buildings to roost. The timers would ignite. Thousands of small fires would start simultaneously across the city. Adams convinced the U.S. military to test this. Actually convinced them. The military spent 2 years and millions of dollars developing bat bombs. They built special facilities to house thousands of bats. They designed tiny napalm incendiary devices weighing less than an ounce. The first test went badly. Some bats escaped before the test, with live incendiary devices attached. They flew to a nearby military airfield and set it on fire, burned down a general's car and several buildings. But the concept worked. Tests showed that bat bombs could start more fires than conventional incendiary bombing. Thousands of tiny fires overwhelmed firefighting capabilities. The project was eventually canceled, but only because the atomic bomb made it unnecessary. But for 2 years, the United States had a serious military program breeding and training bomber bats. They actually calculated that 10 bats per bomb, 100 bombs per plane, 10 planes per attack could blanket a Japanese city with 10,000 tiny fires. The scariest part? It would have worked. Military studies confirmed bat bombs were more effective than conventional incendiary bombing for starting fires in Japanese cities. Japan never knew how close they came to being attacked by weaponized bats. And now, number 1, the craziest weapon of World War II. Weapon number 1, Project Habakkuk, the aircraft carrier made of ice. Britain had a problem in 1942. German U-boats were sinking Allied ships in the Atlantic. Aircraft carriers could provide air cover, but carriers were expensive and took years to build. Geoffrey Pike, a British inventor,
had an insane solution: build an aircraft carrier out of ice. Not regular ice, a mixture of ice and wood pulp called pykrite. This material was incredibly strong. Bullets couldn't penetrate it. It was unsinkable. And it was cheap to produce. Pike proposed building a massive floating island made of pykrite, 2,000 feet long, 300 feet wide, thick enough to be unsinkable, with a flat deck for aircraft operations. The British military actually built a prototype on a lake in Canada, a 60-foot-long scale model. It worked. The pykrite was incredibly durable. The structure was stable. Aircraft could theoretically operate from it. Winston Churchill was so excited about the project that he demonstrated pykrite's strength during a meeting. He pulled out a block of pykrite and shot it with a pistol. The bullet bounced off and almost hit an admiral. The full-scale design was massive. It would have required 1.8 million tons of pykrite, refrigeration units throughout to keep it frozen, a crew of several thousand. The estimated cost was $70 million, about $1 billion today. Construction actually began. They started building it in Canada. But the project had problems. Keeping that much ice frozen required enormous amounts of power. The war situation improved, making it less necessary, and conventional aircraft carriers became available. Project Habakkuk was canceled in 1944. But for 2 years, Britain seriously planned to build an aircraft carrier made of ice. Engineers designed it. Materials were tested. Construction started. It remains the craziest military project that almost happened. So, there you have it. 7 weapons that sound like rejected movie ideas, but actually existed. Guns that shot around corners, explosive rats, giant rolling rocket wheels, anti-tank scooters, pigeon-guided missiles, bat bombs, and an aircraft carrier made of ice. World War II pushed innovation to its limits. When your country's survival is at stake, no idea is too crazy to try. Some of these weapons worked. Some failed spectacularly. But all of them show the incredible creativity and desperation of wartime. The curved-barreled gun was actually used in combat. The bat bombs would have worked if deployed. The ice aircraft carrier was structurally sound. These weren't jokes. These were serious military projects backed by real funding and genuine military necessity. It makes you wonder what crazy weapons are being developed right now. What future historians will look back on and say they actually built that? Modern military research is classified. We won't know about today's crazy weapons for decades. But if history is any guide, somewhere right now, a military engineer is proposing something that sounds absolutely insane. And someone is funding it. Because in war, the craziest idea might be the one that saves lives, or wins battles, or changes everything. These 7 weapons prove that in warfare, there's no such thing as too crazy to try. If you enjoyed learning about these insane weapons, subscribe to Archive of Witnesses. We uncover the strangest, most unbelievable true stories from history. Hit the notification bell, like this video, and comment which weapon surprised you most. Were you shocked by the bat bombs? Amazed by the ice aircraft carrier? Amused by the explosive rats? Let us know in the comments. This is Archive of Witnesses, where history is stranger than fiction.